It's almost 1 year since I used the VKB Gladiator NXT EVO, and I have to tell you how these are performing after almost a year of use every single time I play a space game. Welcome on board and good morning, my name's Captain Collins, and we are in after a year review of the VKB Gladiator NXT and the NXT as an Omni-Throttle. I do use those two things as a dual stick combination, but I will tell you about what the pros and cons are of these sticks after a long time use. Before we start, I will tell you about the facts and the prices of those things so that you can decide if you're really down to that. We're starting with the stick itself. There are two versions. There's a standard and a premium version. You're looking at the premium version here right now. The premium version comes with a rapid fire stick and a analog mini stick right here. Those are the two main differences of premium versus standard. You'll be able to get the standard stick for 173 euros with taxes or $135 without taxes. The premium stick here has exactly this version with the base. The base is basically the same for premium and the standard version. With the premium stick comes for 213 euros or $165. If you want the stick as an Omni-Throttle, so that's an Omni-Throttle, you see the angled piece right here. That version comes only with the premium stick, and that is 223 euros or $175. So if you already own one of those sticks, or you already own two of those sticks and you want to change one to an Omni-Throttle, you can do that with a conversion kit from standard to Omni-Throttle, and that will cost you 42 euros or $30. If you want to know how these joysticks look like from the inside, and if you want to see the whole unpacking of those things, I do have a video right here that will show you how you can configure them inside and what else you can do with those. Because I will not tell you about that today. I will not detach them. I will not make turn them open or whatever, because you can see everything that I'm mentioning in this video that I showed you. After you watch this one, please come back to this video here, because I'm butchering right now my retention, but that's just how it is. I want to give you the best information that I can. So let's go into what I think are the most valid points for those sticks, and I start with talking about the extremely good build quality. There is no creaking, there's no cracking, there are no weird noises, all the springs are fine. There is actually nothing that makes any weird noises. So the build quality is great. You can really go down on these sticks, and I'm constantly putting them on and off the table, and I'm really not using them very slightly. So these are extremely nice build. But I have to say, one con is that the plastic that they use is a little bit different from the plastic that they used, for example, on the T1600M from Thrustmaster. The Thrustmaster one is dispensing the heat a bit better than this plastic. This plastic will have some heat issues if you have like really warm hands. It could happen that you notice that you get like a little bit more sweaty hands on this stick than on the Thrustmaster or any other metal stick, because the plastic is just kind of functioning as an insulation in this case. And a pro is definitely that we have a massive amount of buttons. Without all the analog access that you do have 29 different buttons on every one of those sticks. This is an analog thing that doesn't count, but you have buttons here. This counts as a button. Buttons here, everywhere. Every single one of those has got 5 buttons basically. At the front here for your pinky right there. There's a lot of stuff. And with the premium grip, you do get like the full 29 buttons. With a standard grip, you have 6 buttons less. So this will become a simple button, and you're losing this here. So you basically have 23 buttons. With all those available buttons, you do run into one con that I can think of, because my hands are M-sized. So in American football glove sizes, I do have an M size. My hand is already wrapping all around the stick, and that way I can tell if you have large hands, if you have bigger hands, you'll run into problems with this stick and maybe have a hard time like not hitting like all the buttons here constantly, and also like just simply grabbing that stick. So this is a little bit a smaller sized stick. One extremely great thing about those sticks, and I'm using this constantly and I cannot live without this feature anymore, are the detachable cables. I will just show you. I do have my cables right there in a holder, and I just take those cables from my table, and then I can just attach them, and I am ready to go basically. There they are attached. I'll just put them where I need them, and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to fly perfectly fine. And the sticks are working immediately. The sticks, as you see on at the light, the sticks are immediately working. They have their profile and perfect. What's really nice is also the metal stand for an easy attachment on your table, on other mounts, or whatever you need. You have this massive metal stand that not only functions as a mounting plate, but it also functions as your highest weight of the stick, which means the stick will most of the time stand already where you put it. So I am already used to the stick, and this what I was talking about in the video before, almost a year ago, that it could be a problem that the stick is elevating left and right. It's not that much a problem anymore because I'm used to this. Although it still happens a little bit like that, for example. But the thing is, even if that happens a little bit, we do have those rubber pads here, which are placed all to the edge. And this is really nice because even if your stick elevates a little bit at the sides, it means it will not move from there. On basically almost every surface, it will just simply not move because those rubber pads are stopping it from moving in any direction, basically, because they are already at every direction. It doesn't happen anymore to me. Like I said, maybe a little bit here and there, that it's just elevating just like maybe a centimeter or something. After almost a year of using them for a lot of games, like for example Star Citizen, I have not seen any kind of drift. I don't need to do anything. Those sticks are always coming into the middle, and I've not seen any kind of drift on any axis. Not a single one. No head, no stick, no rotation, nothing. So this is really, really great. But I have to say, especially with this ship, this is the Drake Vulture, and it's a salvaging ship. And for salvaging and mining, especially in Star Citizen, you need to do very small changes of your rectangle in the middle. Around the middle, the sticks will always try to go back. It's not that crazy, but just around the center. You can avoid this, I think, by using servo motors. But instead of using springs, using servo motors, we're talking about hundreds of dollars more cost for those sticks. I don't know which joystick does that. I have seen that the Whirlpool ones are actually using something else than springs. If you are using Whirlpool ones, please tell me about them. I want to know if there are joysticks that completely ignore using springs or some kind of plate. I remember having the Cytec Cyborg 3D like back in the 20 years ago or something. It had a physical plate that was pushed down with a spring so that it stayed in the middle. But I had some drift on that stick after a while, so whatever. I would like to see a stick that basically starts like this, and then when you turn it on, the servo motors will do and put it in the middle. Kind of like a wheel, a very high-priced wheel or something. So the motors bring it into the middle, and then you can basically do movement around the middle extremely smooth. Though, like I said, the T1600s do have that problem way more than the VKB. We're talking here about a slightly disadvantage around the middle. After you're past that, the sticks will act really nice. You can change the strength of your axis. What do I mean by that? Well, you can change the springs inside, because you do get 3 different springs to use, like one light spring, a medium spring, and a hard spring, and that will change how the axis behave. I, for example, do have really hard springs on this axis, but I do have medium springs on this axis because I wanted to move lighter to the side than to front and the back. On the Omni-Throttle, I do have it in a different way. I do have light springs this way, back and forth, and hard springs to the side, because this stick is actually acting as my throttle. But if you want to, and I told you already about the video where I open up those sticks and I built them, you can remove the springs in both of those sticks, and you can make this thing act like an actual throttle. So if you push forward, it will stay forward. At the moment I need to push it, but it will stay forward. If you put it back, it will stay back. The only problem is that when you're using this stick as a throttle, the range is not that great. As you can see, the range is not massive, as if, for example, in comparison to a real throttle, where you have way more range to use it and so be more precise with your speed. What I also love about those sticks is that you have so many different styles of input. You have, like I said, a lot of buttons, clicky buttons here, but you also have heads. You do have heads that are analog and digital. Let me connect that thing really quick so that you see there is a small indicator here. When the light is turned on, you can see there's a small red indicator if I push that button. Now you can see the red indicator here blinking, though you will not see this blinking. This is just because of the camera. And that means this is the analog indicator. This head is now analog. If I click it again, this is gone, and this head is digital, and you have basically 8 buttons that you can press. This is just really great. Apart from that, like I said, a lot of buttons here. You even have a 2 triggered button, 1 click, and if you push it completely through, there is the second click. I hope you can listen to this. Click, and there's the other one. Then you have more of those digital things here, digital hats. You have buttons, but you also have a wheel that acts as a button. So every single time I go down and it clicks, and every single time I go up and it clicks, is 1 button press. This is really cool. This here acts also as a button, but this is like a directional button. So if you press it up, it's a button click. If you press it down, it's a button click. And then you have an analog throttle right here. So you can use 1 single stick for your entire setup. Just use this here as a normal stick, and then when you're using this, you can basically just use this here as a throttle for your acceleration, and that way you only can play with a single stick if you want to. One small problem that I ran into after this year is that the rotation axes are very limited. So the rotation axis right here, this is just the rotation axes are both the same on both sticks. And this is just, I don't know, like maybe 15 degrees that you can rotate. And that's not really that much, especially in games like Star Citizen, where you need strafing up and strafing down. For example, here with this stick, what I do, you want to be precise and you don't want to, crash into the ground or crash into the roof just because you don't have enough preciseness on your sticks. I know you can do that with the speed limiter, and I'm actually using the speed limiter on one of those, but still I would have liked to have just a wider range. And speaking about the rotation, but this is with every single stick, but the rotation axes are pretty strong. So, you need to use quite some force to use them. This is good on one hand because you're not rotating accidentally. But on the other hand, this is also bad because you're putting a lot of strain on your wrist. Especially with this stick, when I'm flying, I am having a little bit of a problem when I'm using this rotation axis here to the outside. You can see that my ankle here is like going into a weird direction. If I need to use this constantly here because I'm avoiding stuff, then I will get some strain on my right ankle, which I really do not get with the Omni-Throttle, because the Omni-Throttle has got a fantastic angle, at least for me, if you ask me, because look at this. I'm just reaching out my hand completely normal, like I would, I don't know, like completely normal. This is how I would reach out my hand. And now I'm putting in the Omni stick. As you see, this is perfect. I really, really love that. If you could do, or if you like to, you could go with both of them like this, and then you would have really a very nice anatomical grip, and you could fly like a it seems a little bit like a pod racer or something. What's cool about those sticks is also that you can make different profiles for those sticks if you want to. You have different profiles for different games. Like, for example, you want your axis to behave different. You don't want this to be a max 100% rotation or anything that you can think of with those sticks. The software from VKB can basically do everything you can think of. The only problem is that this software is just so complicated. It's made for engineers or something. I really have a problem with setting this stuff up. So I went there one single time. I configured my joysticks one single time, and I'm just sticking with it. If you really want to go full customizable or full custom, you can do that. You do have indicators here on the joystick that will show you on which configuration you are, and you can switch between those configurations on your stick. I haven't used that because the software is just too complicated, but it is possible. And what I also highly recommend is VKB has something on their website. You can just simply download those schematics, and you can get those schematics for basically every single input they have. And this is another plus. VKB put that on their website. This is downloadable there, and you can do your own cheat sheets if you like to. So this is my 1 year review from the VKB sticks. I am extremely pleased. The cons are there, and I still need to live with them, but I still would say that those things are great for the cost. They are the cheapest, most premium ones that you can get, I think, on the market at the moment. Every single other one, even VKB, has got higher priced sticks, but then you're even losing all the buttons on your base and stuff. VKB has got higher quality stuff. Whirlpool is higher quality stuff, but all of them cost like hundreds and hundreds of dollars more. And I think this is a very solid choice. The Dustmaster T1600 is the next lower choice that I would consider. It is not as good as those. Still a absolutely valid option for about half the price. I hope that was informative for you. I would really love if you could give this video a like if you like this video. Tell me what to do next if you like to have more reviews of stuff. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.